This is the IK Multimedia Tonex pedal for your pedal board. This is the review from Dylan Talks Tone. Yes, I'm late. Yes, I did it on purpose because there's a bunch of videos out there that tell you what every little knob and every little switch does and how it interacts with all your other gear, but I'm going to tell you how I think most people are going to use this thing in real life. It is a piece of hardware that gives you a hardware interface from the software that Amplitube is. So what Amplitube, for those of you that are not familiar, is a bunch of amp sims on your computer. And it's amazing. Software's been around forever. It's great. It always gets better. It's very good. It sounds good. It is good. This gives you a hardware interface that you can put on your pedal board on the floor in front of you and access up to 150 amps. Personally, I think you're probably going to use about 4 or 5 in real life. You're not going to use 150 probably, but maybe some people will use more than that. I use 3. You get into Amplitube and the software that comes with this. You pick your favorite amps. You'll be like, I'm going to use a JCM 800. I'm going to use a super reverb. I'm going to use a dual rectifier. Okay. Drag and drop. Pew! Now it's on the pedal. Computer is done. No more fiddling with the computer. Now, you have essentially your amp, or however many amps you want, on your pedal board. Direct out to the house, direct out to your interface, direct out to however you want it to be, and boom, you have as many amps as you want on your pedal board. Okay, what is this thing not? It is not like a Kemper in the sense that you cannot capture an amp with it. So, for those of you that are not familiar, a Kemper or a Quad Cortex, you can hook a microphone up to it and you can basically suck the soul out of the Kemper and you can put it into the Kemper, so now it is digital and it is available for you. You can take like a snapshot of that amp tone and put it into your Kemper and use it. This does not do that. However, IK Multimedia does have a piece of hardware called the Tonex capture, which is what this is, that you can do that with. So if we've got hardware amps sitting around here, we could actually hook this up, hook that up, hook it up to the computer, and capture the sound from that amp, put it into the software, mess around with it, do whatever we want, put it into the pedal, and then now have your hardware amps that you own available in a pedal that you can take with you anywhere. So I'm going to show you how I use this thing. My use case is a little bit different because we use it mostly for making YouTube videos, but I do play it a lot, like, you know, for fun, just like playing music, playing guitar. So I'm going to show you how I use this thing. Basically what we have here is we have the Temple Audio Board's Solo 18 pedal board. The Tonex is basically your amplifier. This is, for all intents and purposes, your amplifier. You don't need an amplifier. Here it is. There it is. Boom. Now, what would you normally do with an amplifier? You would normally put your overdrive pedals and such in front of it, right? And then you would put your delay and time-based stuff after it. Then what we would do is we would just play it like a normal amp and pedal board. What I love about this is once we've established what captures we're going to use, you can see here I have lit up right now the super reverb, and it sounds thusly. I can then at any time add any pedals that I want in front of or behind it like you normally would with any other pedal board. Let's talk about some of the things that I really like about this thing. This thing sounds so good. It is not a digital toy. It is, even for $5.99 and what they've packed into this hardware, it is a legitimate piece of equipment that I think a lot of folks really underestimate. It's really, really good. And so the way that translates for me, being a pickup builder and playing all kinds of different guitars with different pickups and different outputs and different things like this, it really is expressive to whatever guitar you plug into it. Sometimes people assume that a digital device, especially at the lower price points, it's just gonna like kind of sound all the same. But this guitar, this unit does not. It really takes on the character very well of whatever pickups you put in front of it. The other thing I absolutely love about this thing is that when you put an overdrive pedal in front of it, same thing. The character of that overdrive pedal is not lost in some digital mush. Take, for example, the Moxie overdrive. When we put it in front of the Super Reverb, the way I would use it in front of a real Super Reverb, which is basically the volume boosted and the gain way low just to push the amp a little bit more, and it sounds fantastic. Of course, on the controls, there is a full complement of EQ and presence, and then there is this alternate section where you can actually go in and play with compression and some other effects as well, and there's also a really good reverb built into the thing. That sounds really nice that's what you've been hearing the whole time. There's no other reverb packed into this thing or put into this thing right now. It's just the one in the unit. The other thing that's really cool, especially when you're doing so many different types of pickups, now, you may not play as many different types of pickups as I do. You might be a single coil guy, a humbucker guy, or whatever. You can actually go into the front end of this thing and play with the input bias, basically. If it's hard for you to get a clean tone out of this thing because it's pushing it too hard, you can adjust. Let's say you play P90s or really hot pickups and you want to back off on the particular profile, you can actually adjust kind of like the input bias of those particular pickups into the unit so that it cooperates the way you want it to when you put pedals in front of it and it gain stages and stuff like that. Sometimes with these things, it's a little adjustment you have to make, but it's nice that they put it in there so you have to do it, so that you can do it. I know there's reviews all over the internet that are way more specific, that talk about every little button, every little switch. I would definitely recommend checking out Steve Sterlacci on YouTube. He is fantastic and has really gone into this thing and how to capture and how to set it up and how to use it with Helix, how to use it with other external digital effects units, and I think that's really cool. That's just not the way I use it. And I think a lot of people are going to take a much simpler approach to this unit. I think they're just going to throw it on a pedal board, put some pedals on there with it, and just play it. I think that's going to be the thing. You can nerd out as much as you want, but I think you'll find once you start playing with this thing that there are amazing sounds available for the amps that you either already own, like, want to own, very good captures. It's just like anything else. The quality of the capture, how good it's done in the beginning, when they hook this box up right here and you capture the amp, how good this is done is a reflection of how good it's going to sound in the end. So there is that. So you have to put time into doing that. But there's also going to be probably a bunch of aftermarket people, like there is with Kemper and Axifex and everybody else, where you can buy profiles for this thing, stick them in there, and be able to just use them and not even worry about the headache of, not the headache, but like the extra step of having to do this. Wouldn't you rather just spend $5.99 or $10.99 or $20 or whatever to get some captures that are already done and done well, and then you just don't have to worry about them? I mean, I'm not advertising for anybody, but I would imagine that's probably what's going to happen. Overall, if you are a guy who does not basically allow the reputation of a particular kind of technology, as in digital, to affect your eyes and ears, and you just hear the thing and use it for what it's intended, I think you're really, really going to like this thing for $5.99. There's going to be a link to it in the description. I recommend you get one. It costs less than a lot of amplifiers, and it's a tool that you can just add. Even if you don't get rid of a bunch of amplifiers, just get this thing and use it as a tool if it's something that you think you'll make use of. I like playing quiet. I have to play quiet right now, so I like that, and I like having all of the different amp profiles to be able to test pickups and stuff. And I think it's a really, really flexible piece of kit to be able to do that with. So there you go. There is the Tonex. I know this is not the conventional review, but it just gives you an idea of real life that I've spent with it for the last month or 2 months maybe. And I really dig this thing. I've been using it. I haven't touched my other amp since I got it, to tell you the honest truth. So there you go. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure you subscribe, like, hit the bell, do all the things that you do when you watch a YouTube video, and we will see you in the next video.